welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Malia. Your girl has been gone for a minute, I know, but I am finally back. As you can see, I have a new scenery, a lot has changed. And yeah, so let me just kind of update you guys on what's been going on. So I finally left my hometown, finally left Nashville, and I decided to move to Houston. And I just want to talk about how I kind of got to this point in my life, why I made the decision, and what my plans are now that I'm here. So January of this year, I was having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine, and she expressed her desires to leave and move to another city. This is something that she's always wanted to do, so it wasn't a surprise that we were having this conversation. But at the time, I was kind of in this space in life where I just wanted like a fresh start. I wanted new soil. I wanted to leave everything behind and just go. Well, actually, a few months before we had that conversation, I started feeling pushed out of my own space. When I say pushed out of my own space, I started to experience things that made me feel like, literally like the walls were caving in. I started to feel suffocated. I started to feel like I needed to leave. I knew that at some point my time was up. So fast forward a few months later, we're having this conversation, and I was just like, you know what? Let me think about it. Let me pray on it. Let me do my thing. And if this is something that I'm supposed to do, it'll happen. Now, when someone thinks about moving, of course, they create a plan. There's a whole process that you map out and you execute on. For some reason, that process just did not sit well with me. So the first thing I decided to do was actually look into the energy of Houston and to see exactly how it would affect me. For those of you who aren't familiar with astrocartography, essentially astrocartography is the placements of the planets and how that placement would affect the energies of places that you live or visit. This is based off of your birth chart. I looked into the energy of Houston and what I would more than likely experience if I were to move there. I actually just want to read a little bit of what my chart says. For Houston, this region is ideal for the realization and ambitious plans and undertakings. Along this line is the best place for career advancement and a fulfilling social position. A stay in these places can help define your goals, give directional clues regarding your calling and official capacity within the community. Here you will be noticed, receive support, recognition, and protection. With an increase in your self-esteem, you can begin to turn personal wishes and desires into reality and experience the satisfaction of success. It sounds like a pretty obvious thing, right? That clearly screams, yes, this is something that you should do. This is something that is going to benefit you. I was like, all right, well, let me just pray on it. Because I think a part of me was still kind of nervous because something like this is very huge and it's a life-changing thing. And it's something I've never done before. I've always wanted to do it. It's been a childhood dream of mine to always leave. For as long as I can remember, I've always been like, the second I become an adult, I'm packing my shit and I'm leaving this town, And it's like, I hadn't done it yet and I've been an adult for a while. So I was sitting with my nervousness around it and I was like, let me just pray. And I couldn't even finish like my prayer. Mid-prayer, literally, it felt like somebody held my mouth. And it was just like, stop. This is what we've been trying to tell you all this time. Why are you still here? This is why you feel pushed out. This is why you feel like you're suffocating. Because your time here is up. And I was just like, bet. Let me quit being stubborn. Let me stop fighting this change and let's just roll with it. So I'm like, all right, God, if this is what I'm supposed to do, how should I go about this? What is the best way? Like, tell me what to do, because I don't know. And I don't want to stress out about this. I want this process to be as easy as possible. And I literally want to feel like I am being just picked up and placed somewhere else. So I was like, God, what do I need to do for it to like align in that way? I was told, dream big. Daydream about how you want to move. Daydream about how you want the process to be, what you want it to look like. Daydream about everything. Take some time and let your inner child fulfill this dream of hers. Ask her what her desires are. Ask her what her wants are. Ask her what she needs as it relates to this aspect of your journey. And that's exactly how it will unfold for you. So of course, I sat with myself. I meditated. I took about a week to just focus on what this process would look like. And that week, I kept hearing, be delusional, be delusional, be delusional, be delusional, be delusional. Now, I'm a Virgo, and Virgo and delusion is like oil and water. I'm very straightforward, facts is fact, I don't do delusion, so the more I sat with the concept of being delusional about this and what that means for me, the more I realized that I had never in my life had an opportunity to just say, this is what I want, and this is how I want it to be, and this is how I'm gonna go after it, and not be ridiculed or attacked for it or told that it would be impossible. I've never had that experience. For me, I'm a very private person. I don't care to have people in my business. I know who I can tell certain things to. With this process, I was like, you know what? We're gonna be completely delusional. I'm just gonna roll with it. I don't wanna tell anybody about it. I'm only gonna tell like the court people that would be affected by it. I don't wanna drive no U-Hauls. The only labor that I wanna do in this process is just pack my shit. I don't wanna deal with nothing else. So I was like, all right, well, we're gonna do exactly that. I give myself permission to plan it exactly like that. And that's what I ended up doing. So my plan was to have everything shipped. Have my car shipped, the things that I decided to carry with me, have that shipped, and I'm booking a one-way out this bitch, right? That plan felt great. It gave me so much joy, like my body agreed with it, like it just screamed, yes, this is how it's gonna be, this is what you should do. Okay, let me circle back to my girlfriend, and I let her know that, this is something that I'm down to do. However, I really feel like I feel led to do it in this way, in this process. And I explained to her what I was thinking about doing, and I let her know that like this is something that I really took the time to think about. I prayed on it. Like, I feel like if we plan it this way, this is exactly how it's gonna pan out, and it's gonna be amazing and with ease. And she was on board with it as well. So we started researching, moving companies, shipping companies, car transports, all of that stuff. And within like a month, we had our plan like locked and loaded and in place. So during this time, we still had a few months before we were actually leaving, because we decided that we were gonna leave once my lease was up. We spent those months just, decluttering, getting rid of things, selling things, just going through that whole process. And it got to the point to where she was only carrying like her clothes. She got rid of everything else, her clothes and her car. And for me, a few weeks before we were actually leaving, I was told to sell my car, which was something that I had been hearing all year. I just was kind of ignoring that, because it's like, who moves to a new city with no means of transportation? But I had spent all this time purging and getting rid of things. And when you ask God, what do I need to get rid of, you go through this process. You have to be obedient. So I was like, okay. So I sold my car a few weeks before we were about to leave, and yeah, at that point, still, the process was still on the low. There wasn't a lot of people that knew. From the outside looking in, it was just business as usual for me. It felt like I had this grand escape plan, and it just felt so amazing. It felt so aligned. It felt right. I felt like so free. Like I hadn't even left yet, and I could just feel like the freedom just seeping into my body. And then a few weeks later, we ended up leaving. I hopped a flight and literally was just like out, So now that I'm here and it's been a month, like I can't even find the words to describe how this experience has been. I've been able to give myself the grace and space to just mourn like what I've left behind, the friendships, the family, like everything. There's a lot that was happening in my life that kind of snowballed into me leaving. And honestly, there's been a lot of things that have occurred over the last few years that I think God put in my path in order for me to break ties and break away from certain things, certain people, so that I could actually be uprooted, At some point I'll speak on those things, but there's just a lot that I'm also still healing from as it relates to those situations that occurred. But at the end of the day, I'm so very grateful for them, because it pushed me to this point. People thought they were doing something to try to, bring me down, tear me down, and there's a lot of unsavory things that was occurring that just screamed, you've got to let your light shine. And one thing that people don't really realize when you're on this journey of just like healing, the goal isn't to like become a new person, like you don't heal certain things and then it's like, oh, you're brand new. Healing is allowing yourself to shed everything that was false about you, things that you experienced and the things that you went through that have molded you into that person that you had to be at that time. Once you remove those masks and you shed all of those layers, you're left with who you were meant to be. You uncover your power, you reclaim your power, you step into who you were meant to be. Again, you don't become a new person, you just become unapologetic about who you actually are. And when you get to that point in your healing journey, you then start to see the world completely different. Like you see everything and you're able to see it for what it actually is. And when you start operating from those spaces, it upsets people. They're no longer able to manipulate you. They're no longer able to hold you back. They no longer have, power over you, because you see beyond what's apparent. And I really didn't like seeing some of the things that I was seeing. When you really start taking your power back, that's when you really start to see like who's really your friends, what opportunities are really aligned for you. You just start to see shit. You start peeping a lot of things. And again, a lot of people aren't gonna like that. So it got to a point to where I just was in hermit mode. I had to isolate myself from a lot of things and a lot of people. And all that did was just prepare me for being able to live without them. I thought I was being attacked left and right, when really it was God's protection, because I needed to start stepping away from certain people, certain opportunities. I needed to start detaching and cutting those cords so that I can be uprooted and simply placed somewhere else, I allowed myself to just go through that process. I allowed everything that needed to go. You know, I released it with love, kept it moving, and it really prepared me for this phase in my life, and it prepared me for this move. And I was the type of person where I was always available to people. I was always there when people needed me. I was always there when people wanted to celebrate. I was always there when, you know, through ups and downs, like I was just a present person for the people that I cared about. And to operate from that space and have the thought of leaving people behind, that never really sat well with me. That felt like that was something that was so impossible to do. All this time, God was just like, I'm gonna show you how easy it is. And literally, cords were being cut left and right. And I will never, ever, ever, ever be ungrateful for anything that I've experienced, especially over the last few years, because it has allowed me to be able to stand on my own for the first time. It has allowed me to be on my own 2 feet, within my own power, within my own foundation, and it's on good soil. It feels good to just put me first. It feels great, actually. I never really knew what putting yourself first truly was until recently, and it's changed my life. It's changed my perspective on things. It's just a whole new world. Shout out to Aladdin, but it really is a whole new world. And again, I'm grateful. It's all love on my end. It really is, for all of the pain that I've had to like endure over the last few years. It was all for a greater purpose, and I'm just glad that I stuck through it. It made me realize how small I have been playing things and how I've been playing myself all this time. And so here we are, a new city, new beginnings, new everything. I'm so excited for the things that not only I'm going to be able to accomplish, but for my girlfriend as well, as she embarks on her journey. It's been a beautiful process to unfold in. I always knew that I deserved so much more, but I never allowed myself to actually see it for myself. Giving myself the permission to see it allowed it to actually come into fruition for me. I look forward to being able to enjoy life and enjoy how far I've come and enjoy the fruits of my labor. I feel like I'm finally in a space where I can speak my truth now. A bitch can breathe. Like, it feels really good to be able to exhale. It really does. It really does. Oh, I don't want to cry. But yeah, I'm grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful to be here, and I'm just grateful. So yeah, I'm actually about to grab some lunch and just enjoy this beautiful weather and vibe out. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.